the black hair and think that gave him a right to knock you down and kick you. No one saying boo to him for that. No sheriff or deputy neither. It wasn't a crime to beat an Indian. Not at all. John Cole, even though he had been out as a soldier and was a good farmer, got bad treatment in town because his grandmother, or the woman before his grandmother, was an Indian person. So that was writ in his face a little. Even English couldn't protect him. Because he was a big grown man, maybe, he couldn't hope for mercy just all the time. He had a lovely face, as people attested, in especial Thomas McNulty, but I guess the townsmen could sometimes see the Indian in it. They beat him so bad, and then he was just a plank of suffering in the bed, and Thomas McNulty swearing he would go in and kill someone. But Thomas McNulty's shortcoming was he was poor. We were all poor. Lige McGann was poor enough, and he owned the farm. And we were poor underneath Lige. Poor worse than Lige. When a poor person does anything, he has to do it quietly. When a poor person kills, for instance, he has got to do it very quietly and run as fast as those little deer that float out of the woods. Also, Thomas had been in Leavenworth prison for desertion, so the uniforms about the town made him jumpy, even though he always said he loved the army. I myself was lower than Rosalie Bouguereau. She was a black-skinned saint of a woman, let me tell you. She used to go out and shoot rabbits with her brother's rifle along the backwoods of Lige's farm there. In the famous battle with Tack Petrie, famous to us anyhow, when he and his accomplices had tried to rob us, advancing on our homestead with implacable intent, she distinguished herself by reloading the rifles faster than ever was. So said John Cole. But she was a slave before the war, and a slave is low down in the eyes of white folks, of course. So I was lower than that. I was just the cinders of an Indian fire in the eyes of the town. Indians in bulk were long gone from Henry County. Cherokee, Chickasaw. Folks didn't like to see an ember drifting back. In the eyes of the great mystery, we were all souls alike, trying to make our souls skinny enough to squeeze into paradise. That's what my mother said. Everything I remember of my mother is like the little pouch of things that a child carries to hold what is precious to her. When such a love is touched by death, then something deeper even than death grows in your heart. My mother fussed over us, myself and my sister. She was interested in how fast we could run and how high we could jump, and she never tired of telling us how pretty we were. We were just little girls, out there on the plains, under the starlight. Thomas McNulty sometimes liked to tell me I was as pretty as the things he thought were pretty. Roses, robins, and the like. It was mother's talk he was doing, since I had no mother then. It was strange that in the old wars he had killed many of my people when he was a soldier. He might have killed even some of my own family. He didn't know. I was too young to remember, I would say to him. Of course I hadn't been, but it came to the same thing. It used to make me feel very strange listening to him talk about that. I would start to burn from the center of my body. I had my own little pearl-handled gun that the poet McSweeney gave me in Grand Rapids. I could have shot Thomas with that. Sometimes I thought I should shoot something. Shoot someone. Of course, I did shoot one of Tack Petrie's men. Not actually during the famous battle, but another time, when they accosted us on the road, right through the chest. And he shot me, but it was only a bruise, not a wound. I had the wound of being a lost child. Thing was, it was they that healed me. Thomas McNulty and John Cole. They had done their damnedest, I guess. So they both gave me